Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, dude here, yet again an iteration of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, being the small, known to actually work format of using the spare smartphone. Not my preferred method, but it's working. So, unfortunately, excuse me, try to do a little reorganization here. All right, it's something we know works. Is it a pretty function therein? No, not particularly, but it is working. So I'm running the old new laptop. Okay, the standard laptop I've been running. So hopefully everything's going in that regard, and of course it's now working correctly. Let me make sure that everything is working, and I'll be looking at stuff. Hopefully you guys are in the room seeing stuff working normally, and good stuff like that there. Standard start time, nothing crazy. Unabashedly, it's just going, okay? Let's just hope it's just going. Do see things are hopefully currently going. Yes, I see a chat room. Yes, I see a small format. And that's currently what we got going on. So we're going to work with that. Why? It's working. Okay. Also, I do have numerous light sources, so I'm not shouted out. One of the really kind of strange things about doing any kind of broadcast, podcast, call it what you will, it is just weird. Okay. Transmission received via backup AM frequencies, shortwave. We're basically using pirate radio. Pirate radio. Okay. Anyway, good stuff like that there. For some reason, I see your comment on the phone, but I don't see it on the live cast currently on YouTube. Let me try refreshing this real fast. And hopefully this is currently going. Yes, I now see your chat is now currently in the chat room on the laptop. So I can actually see it without being bitty. Why? Because I don't feel like wearing reading glasses, okay? That's just gonna be really yeah, it's gonna be annoying. Sound guy, stop. Anyway, so let me go over here to the straight poop of what's going on. I don't know if you guys have been catching up on things in Europe right now, but there is like a major pissing match going on between the residents and the Muslim guys who have taken up residence there. And it is now such a pissing match where it's like they have enclaves of the Muslim guys saying, you know what, you don't need to come here because we're now in charge here because our Sharia law holds us to be profoundly in charge of things, and you don't.
Come on, squeal.
Don't want to come. Do not come.
No.
She's gone from suck to blow.
Do not come.
Wrong kind of. I'm not even going to get into it. No, they're saying don't enter into our areas. Okay, don't do it, sound guy. Don't. I hit the stop button on that one. Enter as into ingress into a certain locale. Okay, not sound guy. Okay, we're not talking about a female having a solo party, as it were. Okay, we're not talking about that. Jeez. Anyway, so story coming in Daily Express. I'm going to try to keep these short because I got a lot of content going on. Town of Palma. So Palma in Spain has seen a dramatic drop in tourism. And Spain is now kirking out because it's a major city that's now been completely abandoned by tourism. So what it is, essentially, everybody's seeing our kerfuffle going on overseas, and they're going, you know what? I see no reason to go to the EU right now. The entire place is about to go nuclear with Muslim invasion. And the nations they're allowing are truly allowing bad behavior from certain groups of individuals, certain sects of population. And they're not saying, okay, guys, you haven't inculcated, you're being naughty. Stop. So anyway, that's what's going on with that one. Switching over to the United States, I cannot do this justice, but Nan Pelosi, oh my stars and garters, Nan in her advanced age is starting to get very entertaining because she's starting to get very strange in her efforts to try to keep things on the straight and narrow as she sees it. Anyway, so Nancy thinks compassion is making lazy people fat, eating junk food, and rather than making and mandating healthy choices that we are all paying for. So coming in on her X, formerly Twitter entry, this one being posted up 8:31, so about 10 days ago or so. She posted this one up, Nancy Pelosi at Speaker Pelosi. Okay, you're not Speaker anymore. Change your page. Well, now you can't change your page, but you're not the Speaker anymore. Just give me 1 second here. You're not the Speaker, okay? Anyway, so she may have been even, well, she wasn't in office for this, but she was definitely around to see this happen. So, and Nancy Pelosi, Aunt, and I'm saying Aunt like she's got like the blue check mark. Anyway, so 61 years ago, the Food Stamp Act became law. Okay, that's nice. You're basically helping people who are truly needy as an augment, not as a full-on lifestyle choice. Yeah. Launching what we now know as SNAP, America's most effective anti-hunger initiative. Okay, if they're using SNAP and they're going in and buying junk food, soda, prepared food, or actually prepared food that's cold. You can't buy hot food with, EBT or SNAP or any other stuff. So essentially they're going in and they're buying a bunch of crap. Now, the other thing, too, is also it's been well documented. These guys are going in and they're buying luxury food items, and they're buying luxury food items that, oh, yeah, we are paying for. Now, truthfully, if this was to be done charitably and correctly, it would be you go in there and you have to buy the basics. Okay, obviously fresh food, canned food, obviously, good meat proteins. If you're vegan, obviously good vegetable style proteins, your choice in that regard. But essentially it would be elemental items of which to build things at home. Not prepared food, not junk food, not soda, and most assuredly not sugar water crap calling itself something along the lines like fruit juice with 5% fruit juice, okay? You would mandate that these people can only use this card to buy food that is nutritious and good for you in its execution of eatability, as it were. Most effective anti-hunger initiative, she says. Quote, unquote, here we go again. Now, Republicans have gutted it in their big, ugly bill. Okay, that was big, beautiful bill. Big, ugly bill. Hyphen. Cruelly taking food from the mouths of our children and families who need it most. Okay, I don't know if Nan has been around the hood recently, but there's a whole heck of a lot of really chunkers walking around going, yeah, this bag of yummy stuff that somebody else paid for, it's the best. And they're eating crap food. And of course they go on about the food deserts in certain areas of the hood and, other areas. Well, got bad news for you guys in the hood and other bad areas. If you stole the store blind, the store is not going to stay. They are going to go, you know what? We're tired of having lockup cases and people stealing ourselves blind. We're not going to do it anymore. We're gone. We're bye-bye. And they go to a different area, thus leaving bodegas, which are pretty much filled with junk food. Now, if you're going in and just bought a bag of chips and that's like a snack, If you're living on this crap, yeah, that's not good either. But you know what? If you guys have the social mores of thieving the place to the point where they say, you know what, Thor's hammer, we're out of here. And you kind of get what you get because you've chased out all the decent food suppliers. And of course, now you're trying to stereotype it as, wow, the white guys just don't want to come in here. No, anybody doesn't want to come in there because they're going to get thieved out blind. That's the situation in which you placed yourself upon. So, in the process of doing that, we now have ourselves the situation where the government, the new guys in House, the new guys in Senate, and obviously the guy driving the bus in the White House saying, you know what? No more of this crap, okay? You're not going to use public funds to eat junk. And that's what they mean by, cruelly taking it from the mouths of children and families. Okay, if you're forced to eat junk, you're not going to do well, all right? That's how it is in its extent. Patriot Fever, appreciate you coming by. Patriot Fever family reporting. Okay, well, that's cool. Scrolly. This one kind of sucks, but I saw this one coming down the pike, and I have minimal amounts of stuff actually on my Android devices. Just give me 1 second here. I mean, basically, I see this as communication and a work device. I mean, I got 2 games on it, maybe. Yeah, I got 2 games. Obviously, I've taken trips, so I'd have Southwest icon on there for air flights, and obviously cruises I've taken. I've taken Royal Caribbean cruises and I've taken MSC cruises. So those 2 cruise lines, obviously, I have their apps, so I can interact with people on board the boat. Obviously, boarding procedure, disembarking procedure, all that stuff. Pretty much, I'm using it truly as a communication device. In terms of entertainment, everybody's like, wow, you should basically download this app, download that app, this, that, and the other thing. I do not have TikTok. As a matter of fact, I don't even have the Facebook app on board. What I do is I log in using a browser. Biggest difference is it's not permanently snooping on my stuff. I close that browser window. Facebook isn't still going, hey, let's snoop out on what you got going on. Because once I close that browser window, it's done. It's not a direct connection to their server like having the app on board. Now, in terms of that leading into the next part of this story, so this is why I'm saying in the article that I actually quoted on Facebook, this is when you run a different OS or operating system and a bootloader. So the dirty, absolutely dirty little secret is Android really is pretty much Linux with a pretty face. Chrome is Linux with a pretty face. Microsoft was not even in the equation at all. When Google decided they wanted to have, operating systems, they said, we want to have something really simple, really easy, tweakable, that we can basically put our own stuff on board, and we don't have to design the whole thing. We literally don't have to build the whole castle to then have, install the king. That's literally pretty much all that Google did, is they had the OS. Excuse me 1 second here. They had the OS, got a little bit of a hay fever thing. They had the OS that they initially are utilizing. I'm sure they probably licensed it somehow. I'm sure Linux made bank on that one. But the other dirty little secret is Linux is actually what's called open source. So somebody could go into Linux and they can look at the program and they can go, that component there, that doesn't work really good. Let me just take that piece of code out and I'll put it in my piece of code and I'll give it a try on my unit and see how it works. And they fire it up and it works better, or it doesn't work, and they go, it didn't work, and they take it back out and put in the original stuff. But they can actually tweak it, tune it, and play with it, and customize it to their own devices, literally. So, you have those guys who are building the microcomputers, like Raspberry Pi, and, all the other little clones, and all the other little, what they refer to as an SoC, or a system-on-a-chip computers, where you have those little microcomputers about the size of, a modem box, and it's not a hot rod computer, but it's decent enough, and you literally could build like a decent little computer, 150, $200, and that thing would be not bad at all. The major thing, of course, is obviously, it's more of a hobbyist type of thing. Joe Blow's not going to go out there and go, okay, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy a Raspberry Pi. I'm going to buy the box. I'm going to buy, all the graphics card. I'm going to plug all this stuff in together. Jack, boop, built my computer. Most people don't do that. They go out and they just buy a computer. Okay. Literally, that's pretty much what I do. I'm just nerd enough to get myself in trouble and go, okay, how do I fix this now? Because I did something that was just, yes. Yeah, thanks, Sound Guy. It was just good enough to get myself in trouble, and things went a little bit wrong when I tried to, well...
No. You're in the jailhouse now. Dickhead.
Okay, I don't think... No, Sound Guy. No, there is no dickhead. Sound Guy. Stop that. Jeez. Yes, you're pushing it, dude, okay? So anyway, I basically mess with things and... Stop. Sound Guy. Stop. Jeez.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the...
I do not have a case of the ram. Stop. Okay? So anyway, I basically mess with things enough that I get myself in trouble. Then I have to do some research to try to fix it because, well... Yeah, thanks, Sound Guy. Stop. Okay? I know how to fix the problems once I do it to myself. There's obviously, back doors where you can go in there and, de-screwify what you did. Triggering an electronic addiction, stop it. The wallet begs you, so does Nurse Patriot. Yeah. Well, okay, Patriot Fever, I hate to tell you this, but the Raspberry Pi guys have come up with Raspberry Pi 5, I think it is, and the board is a little bit bigger, but it is really, really close to laptop. Sorry. Like $200, you can make the thing flat out smoke. It's actually a really decent unit. Just look on YouTube, you'll see the videos. Anyway, so referring to the OS or the operating system and the bootloader, essentially what it is the OS is what runs the device. The bootloader is what tells the device, you can work with this OS. I'm going to handshake you two guys together and, oh yeah, play nice. Now, the dirty little secret is if you have an actual OS that is different than Android, it still runs on the phone. And there's actually guys that have gone out there and they have de-Android Android phones. So they literally put a new operating system in there and it's still a phone and it actually does all the things that you want it to do without Google looking over your shoulder going, hey, we don't want you to do that unless you download the stuff from us. That leads into the story that we currently have with this problem. So there's no need to deal with overreaching control freaks in the tech industry any longer because you can do your own OS and bootloader. But Android is open source. It always has been. That's the dirty little secret that Google really truly doesn't want you to know. But, even though it's basically Linux for mobile devices, they're trying to do something else entirely, and they're now trying to play the game. So what Android is now going to do is it's going to do something called restricting sideloading. So iOS, or in other words, Apple, the Apple OS, the iOS. So basically what Apple runs on their operating system. Well, in a similar move, Android is now going to restrict people from installing APK files, which are basically the little programs that actually make things run in your phone that are not validated from the Google official Play Store. Now, Apple's done this for a while where, oh no, it's for security purposes. We're going to make sure everything's completely safe before you install it in your device. We'll be the overarching authority on what you can put in and what will run on your Apple device because we're trying to keep you safe. Nah, what it is they're trying to keep you from putting other stuff in there that they don't authorize because they're not getting a cut. All right? Follow the money. Always follow the money. All right? That's literally all it is these guys are simply just saying, well, here's an opportunity to make more cash. Yeah, we're going to just make more money. Why? Because you have to come to us. Okay, I got the cash register. I don't know why you put the cat in there, sound guy. Wow. I have no clue, okay? None.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these on this plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some windows.
Cats on a plane? Really, sound guy? Okay, he's now, at least he's not playing the fart sounds, okay? I think we're halfway there. I may have sworn him off too much of fart noises. He's just doing cats now. Anyway, so essentially what it is Android is now emulating the same thing that Apple has done, and they're saying, you have to come to us to upload these things. Well, yeah. But that's like saying you can only burn gas from a Shell gas station because that's the only gas we'll allow to go in the gas tank. That's literally all it is. They just want to have control. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly the very, very, very first plane with new upgraded security technology has flown. It was a Southwest plane, believe it or not. But so instead of the TSA making us safe, they now have a physical barrier installed in the planes. So literally all it is, obviously you get into a plane, you have the forward door, you look over, there's the pilots, you wave hi to the pilots, and there's a forward lavatory. Also, there's a forward station for the air crew. I'm trying not to use the old inappropriate phrase, but the stewardesses, some place for the stewardesses to, gather their forward items. I don't think they have the drinks in the front. I think they got the drinks in the back. Or at least coffee and stuff is always in the back. Anyway, so you have the forward lavatory, you have the forward crew station. Obviously, you have the flight crew area, and there's a doorway. So what they've installed now is on the plane itself is when the pilot has to relieve himself in the lavatory, there's a door now that closes off that forward area so nobody can gain entry, even into that forward lavatory. It literally blocks off the forward section of the aircraft. So that's literally the increased security protocols they've done. Let's see. 9/11 happened in, 2001? Yeah. 2001. Let's keep ourselves honest here. Let's see. 9/11. 9/11 attack. Let's see. This happened in 2001. That's 2025 now. It only took them 24 years to go, hey, let's put an additional door in the flight crew area just in case. Okay, so I think maybe what it is they want to keep the pilots from, really smogging the rest of the flight area, because I don't know what the pilots have been eating. Maybe that's what it is. Eesh. Wow. I think that's exactly what it is. So Southwest Airlines became the first U.S. carrier to operate a commercial aircraft with mandatory secondary cockpit barrier starting on August 29, 2025. This milestone addresses a critical post-9/11 aviation security gap by installing an installed physical secondary barrier. They have a term for it. So the IPSB, the installed physical secondary barrier. So it's on a Boeing 737 MAX 8. The FAA regulation requires these barriers in all newly manufactured commercial aircraft delivered after August 25, 2025, aiming to prevent unauthorized cockpit access when the primary door is open during flight. Okay, the crew area has their own door going into the crew area. That's another door, okay? That's what is a secondary physical barrier. Yeesh. Despite industrial resistance and requests for implementation delays due to certifications challenges, it's a friggin' door, okay? You make it so somebody can't run through the door. That's your certification, all right? Jeez. Pilot unions, notably ALPA, strongly oppose delays, emphasizing the importance of enhanced flight deck protection. Okay, if these pilots were armed up with a 357 and a guy came through the flight door, it would be like, "Hi, I'm the bad guy." It'd be like, "Bang, you're now the bad guy who's now laying on the floor." You know, a lot of pilots are actually armed, but they don't really like publicize that much. Yeah. So the estimated cost is $35,000 per barrier. You know why? It's all the certification. That's why it costs so flippin' much. Yeesh. Martinez Sasquatch says in the room, Google always did this. You just need the telephone to download from unknown sources. It's required in the fun apps. Yeah. Patriot Fever Jackson's on one of the new planes full of Kamalas and AOC. A few goes missing. The plane is off course. Oh, jeez. Wow. Patriot's office needs a new computer. Okay. Well, you need a new. The only downside is all the new stuff is all this AI enhanced crap. That's the only thing that really kind of drives me away from going, oh, yeah, new laptop would be freaking awesome. I'm not a fan of AI. That's why I'm still rocking a Note 9. The only AI I encounter with this phone is when I go, hey, Google, tell me about the blah, blah, blah. And it goes, here's the Google enhanced results. It's like, no. I can look for myself, okay? You're not really saving me anything by, giving me the blip fart version of what you guys think is going to be like the best information. Not into it. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but this one is just absolutely demonstrably it needed to be done. So EV guys,
blow it out your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this one coming in from of all places, Stellantis, which is Stellantis. How do you eat? Stop. Sound guy.
You sick little monkey.
Sound guy, stop. I knew a fart was coming. Sound guy.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so.
Me. Yeah. So help me. Yeah. Anyway, so Stellantis finally saw the writing on the wall, quite literally, finally. So, told you, nobody wants an EV, quote unquote, muscle car. So they removed the communist-style takeover of the U.S. government by the eco-geeks. Reality has now ensued. So this coming in from, where is this from? I forget. Anyway, I didn't get the link. Anyway, Dodge has announced that the electric Charger Daytona RT, also known as the, okay, I got this one, sound guy. The Charger Daytona RT. Yeah, it's just, whiz and a hang up. Thanks, sound guy. I wasn't really looking for that one. But let's just say if you're driving one of these cars, you could, oh, you definitely could. Oh, yeah, you could definitely. Yeah. Stop, sound guy. Stop. Jeez, but you'd be dancing to the Blue Oyster if you drive one of those EVs. Will be discontinued for the 2026 model year. This decision stems. I love this explanation they give. This decision stems from a combination of factors, including poor sales, performance, and impact of U.S. tariffs. Why? Because they're building them in Canada? No, I think nobody's buying them. All right, stop. Despite the significant discounts, the entry-level RT struggled to attract buyers, especially compared to the more powerful Scat Pack model. The Scat Pack model has a straight 6 that is better, but not in terms of build quality. They are having all kinds of issues with those things just going kablooey. They are not doing well, and that's being very, very polite. They are just Okay, I think you were supposed to do that the other way, sound guy. Better. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, the straight 6 wannabe hot rod. No, that engine sucks. It makes decent power, but it's not good. They're having all kinds of issues with it. So despite the significant discounts, this, that, and the other thing. Additionally, the new 25% tariffs on Canadian-built vehicles, like the Charger Daytona RT, have further affected the competitiveness in the U.S. market. Okay, there is no competitiveness for a hot rod EV, okay? The people buying those things want to buy an EV. It's not like the hot rod guy goes, I'm tired of burning gas. I want to have something that sounds like a Jetsons car as I'm driving it around going, yep, I'm trying to reminisce on the good old days back in my teens and 20s when I was driving something with a V8 and I had a hot girl on my shoulder and we were just putting around and we go to the drive-thru. No. That's not what they were saying at all. Okay? Yeah, it's definitely the Dookie. Anyway, so in response to consumer demand and changing leadership at Stellantis, yeah, like, dude, you ran the place wrong. You should have told the government to go pound sand, not taking the EV stuff. You should have kept making cars the way you were and just shouldering the burden of telling the federal government to go pound sand. So it resumes production of its Hemi V8 engines on August 25 at the Dundee engine plant in Michigan, making them here. So the revival includes the 5.7 liter, the 6.4 liter Apache, which is the 425 horsepower, which is the same horsepower advertised as the latter 60s and early 70s Hemi Mopar products, was 425. It was actually probably closer to about 450, 460, but maybe 500 with some tunes. But it was air quotes 425. Okay, for the insurance guys, it was only 425 horsepower. Okay, well anyway, so the 6.4 Apache Scat Pack makes 425. The 6.2 liter supercharged Hellcat motor makes 707. And if you get one of the Red Eye or the Demons, they're like 1,008, I think it is. Stupid power. Sucks the tank dry and basically just fries the back tires off. But it's fun. Anyway, so the move aims to reintegrate these vehicles into performance-based Dodge, Ram, and Jeep vehicles, including the Dodge Charger. Strategic shift reflects and renewed commitment to offering a balanced lineup that includes both electric and gasoline-powered options, catering to a broader range of consumer preferences. Translation, they couldn't sell the electric cars even with government mandates and tax credits. Sorry, guys. Nobody was buying. Scrolly. Oh, man. So, I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but drunken, idiot, left-hearted moron overseas. Rosie O'Donnell. Excuse me 1 second here. Power. Isn't it like saying ammo is too big a caliber? Exactly. What you got, what you want to play with is your choice. If you can shoulder the recoil, quite literally, that is on you. Personally, my recoil limit, I don't like going much bigger than 7.62 NATO. It just hurts. It just hurts. Pistol calibers, I've shot 44s. I don't like them. Give me my 357 any day of the week, and I am more than happy just to pop rounds with a smaller bullet moving at a zippy velocity. I am good. So, I don't know if you guys caught this one or not, but supposedly Rosie O'Donnell stuck foot in Yap. She probably was hammered when she did it, but she apologizes after falsely claiming that the trans Catholic school. Hang on a second here. I got to be really generic on how I do things, with YouTube and if you use the wrong phrase, you get, and you don't get.
Death! By Snoo!
No, you get. Yeah, and they downgrade your video or they silence the words and they're like, oh, you said the wrong thing, and we're all going, So anyway, she, hang on a second here, said that the trans, hang on, I'm going to have to figure this out so I don't get the, well, yeah, I don't want that, okay? That would be,
No.
yeah.
No. 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 Hell no. 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 I refuse. No.
Right. I don't want, I want no no's, okay? So anyway, the Catholic school. Sound guy. No, it was simple as the Catholic school trans guy. That, okay? So the trans Catholic school. Okay, so we're all on board now. I'm not using the improper phrasing. Who obviously had some innocent victims because he was the crazed guy who went out and went. Well, probably did more than that, but he was the guy that did these things, and okay, thank you, sound guy. I think we're good.
Fatality.
Oh, would you stop? Anyway, so she said that he was a Republican MAGA person. Rosie O'Donnell, my word. I think what it is they reach a point of just complete and total insolvency and absolute self-deluded just nutsville where they're just feeding on themselves. It's like Ouroboros, like the snake eating its tail. It just can't stop. Oh, wow. Wow, just unbelievable bad exercise of futility on her part. She should probably just keep her mouth shut, stay in Ireland, and just, be miserable by herself. Wow. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not, and it's been memed like I can't even begin to tell you. But the gathering of the flotilla by Greta Thunberg out by Gaza, where she was sporting that new pissed off Dutch boy haircut. Oh, my stars and garters, I can't do it justice. Everybody was just like, oh, yeah, that's really not good. You kind of just look silly. You've really, truly entered into the... Oh, most definitely. Yeah, yes.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, with a haircut like that, you should just...
I say we take off and nuke the entire bitch from orbit.
Okay, I don't know about that one, sound guy. No, you don't claim innocence on that one, dude. Okay, that was naughty. Okay, that was naughty. Anyway, that was distinctly no.
No. No. No. No. No. No. No. Hell no. 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 I refuse. No.
Okay, stop with the nose. So anyway, she's got her bag her face look going on in that picture. I cannot do it justice, but it's amazing the transition that she's made. I mean, she started out as this teenage little script reading, how dare you, little annoying, I really want to curse more, but more than normal. But anyway, really annoying little just media darling where she was seen as the person who could speak for the plight of the planet and animals and all the rest of that happy horse stuff. But the thing about it is she was okay with the moderately almost kind of like, teenage kind of cute thing, almost. And then now she's attained full, obnoxious, derp, older status. Oh, my stars and garters, she's fucking out harder than you don't even want to shake a stick at. Wow. So she went from semi-okay, derpy spectrum, Pippi Longstocking to frumpy, old, Swedish bag lady. That's about the easiest way I can describe it. But, man, I'll tell you what, that haircut looks like somebody had a pair of scissors on the boat, and they're like, hold still, hold still. And they were just hacking and chopping, and yipes, yipes. Wow, it's just, yeah, it's just bad. I mean, just really, really bad. Like, not even like appealing in public, bad. Like, you had long hair in, like, I guess it kind of almost worked, but that shoulder length, like, He-Man style, and I do mean He-Man, like, the old cartoon series, and that's literally what they've been doing. They've been taking her head off and putting it on He-Man. Oh, my stars and garters. Wow. Bad. Just bad. Never mind the fact that she basically got, her little flotilla out there and was like, oh, no, the weather's kind of rough. The weather's rough. This water's kind of rough. And they bailed out on their little protest on the side of Gaza, where the Israelis were like, we would have done something, but she left. I cannot do it justice. Too funny. Scrolly. I get this one's such a visual, but I think I can translate it. So Don Lemon, the former news guy who got, basically, the Spanish archer, elbow. He got elbowed out the job. Well, Don Lemon, it's really well publicized. Everybody knows at this point, but Don Lemon is a gay man. Obviously has a beau. I don't know if they're married, but I know they've been like a well-established couple for a long time. And obviously he's gay. But in the jokes that can't write themselves, I think he would only be really truly into another man. And that's putting it mildly. Basically you have those guys looking over going, yeah, he's dreamy. Well, what did Don Lemon say that may have been like the stop clock right twice a day? Don Lemon said Michelle Obama is much better looking than Melania Trump. To which I have to say, yep, he would know a good-looking man if he sees one. Wow. Cannot do it justice. Scroll. Scrolly. I got a lot of memes up I got to cut through here. Scroll. I can't play that one. That's a video. This one is absolutely irony squared, stood on its head with, banners waving, fireworks, and blisteringly honest social statement of facts at hand. Okay, I really, truly, when I'm doing Uber, unless I know that person is like very similar political stripe to me, I keep my mouth shut. And also, if they happen to be on the other side of the aisle, well, staunchly put, I'm more of a constitutionalist, and I'm really more of a, an old school libertarian aspect of things. I mean, obviously, there's some things, I'll be in other boxes, but pretty much, I'm pretty much a case of if it's traditionalist and it did work, why did we stop doing it? It's kind of like my way of thinking of things. Patriot Hero. Don Lemon memes write themselves. Yeah, they kind of really, truly do. So anyway, if I have somebody on the other side of the aisle and they're carrying on about something, I just let them talk. They're basically, they're paying for the ride. I don't need to insert myself in there other than maybe like a generic comment like, yeah, well, pretty much all the politicians suck. And that's pretty much about as adversarial as I'll ever get with those guys. And they're like, well, yeah, kind of. They grudgingly go, yeah, well, yeah, they kind of do. It's like, yeah, so that's like the one aspect of things we can absolutely agree upon. So anyway, this chick, and I cannot do this justice, but no matter what you say in public, to whom you ever say it, to whichever group, you have an opportunity to piss off at least 50% off the population in any way, shape, or form. It's much better if you're a political figure to be a political figure. But if you're somebody who's not, like, realmed in politics, keep your yap shut. You don't need to share these things. Well, what did this chick do to herself? Well, she happened to reside in a southern state. And she happens to be somebody suffering from extreme, severe, and abject, complete, and total TDS or Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, man. So this is coming in from one of the Facebook pages I follow, and this is classic. I cannot begin to do this justice, but truthfully, she probably should just kept her nose out of other people's business, kept her yap shut, and simply just not exposed herself as being a raging TDS sufferer at times where probably it was not the most appropriate. So, business owner has lost so many clients and friends for speaking out against Trump. The fact that these people are so self-unaware is actually astounding. When you trash the people who pay for your services, they aren't likely to continue to do so. Why is that so hard to grasp by the left? Well, here's her quote. I run a dog grooming business that is in a very small town in Tennessee. Not a blue state, mind you. And I've lost so many clients and friends over this one, over speaking out. And it's so sad because these people on one hand will tell you how much they love you, how much their dog loves you. Quote, thank you so much for loving my baby, being so good to my baby. You're the absolute best. We would never take our dog anywhere else, end quote. And then they see my posts on Facebook calling out Trump and everyone else around him that supports him. Then all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. And they don't want to bring their dogs to me anymore. So I'm at the point where I have a very small group of friends here in Tennessee. I can't sit back and be with someone that isn't willing to fight the good fight. And I won't sit here and let these people in my town take away everything I work for because they think Trump is God. And I'm bad for speaking out against him and speaking up for the gay community, the trans community, the Hispanic community, so they're getting what they want. They're going to put me out of business and they're going to run me out of this town. Okay, I'm just simply going to say charitably, you probably were doing fine until you started carrying on about the gay and trans communities. I'm pretty sure people in Tennessee probably are perfectly fine with Latinos in the United States as long as they're not illegal aliens. I'm sure they're perfectly fine with people that have come here from other countries, and I'm sure there's plenty of people from other countries that are in your state of Tennessee who have taken up residence there, mostly because, oh yeah, there's been a major influx of industry, business, and opportunities for other companies in which to expand their operations in something other than a blue state. So, case in point, I think you were perfectly fine until you started carrying on about those three things that you found so put upon that you couldn't keep your I want to really say something else here. You couldn't keep your gap shut. And you had to keep proselytizing to everybody about how bad Trump is. Okay, you had one opportunity of which to basically show Trump how much you thought he was not the guy in your election results. Obviously, you're in the minority because he got elected twice. And the second time he got elected was in greater numbers than the first time. So obviously, your side isn't the side that has the ruling majority of people that found him to be the best choice at that time. So, probably you might have wanted simply just to keep tending to the dogs and privately keep your yap shut. Or never aligned your business with your personal opinions, and you probably should have simply stayed on, maybe like less public forums in which to make your notoriety known, because if you align your business with your public opinions and people put the two together, they're going, hey, I don't like what she just said. I'm not going to give her my money. That is it. All of it in a nutshell. And you are a moron. Just give me 1 second. It's like the case of I'm just drawing the lightning rod upon myself, and I'm wondering why I just got fried. Ugh. Wow. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but there's been a poll taken, and 78% of Americans really, truly don't. Hang on a second here. I got it. I got it, sound guy. Okay. 78% of Americans don't give a about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being engaged. 12% said the marriage won't last. Translation, I really don't give a about what they're going to do, and they can do it all to what they're worth, and I want nothing to do with it. Personally, both those people just make my skin crawl. Just, I don't know why you're hitting the chime, sound guy. They are just, okay, I'll allow that. That was on point. What the heck was that for? Oh, jeez. Anyway, and again with the cat. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but this guy, Graham Linehan, has been screwed over so totally because he's been making public statement about things that the government is trying to espouse as virtuous and noteworthy. And I've actually heard this guy is actually almost like, called out to Trump saying, hey, any chance I can come to the United States because these guys suck. Yeah. So I think this guy really truly has been screwed over. Supposedly he got busted in Heathrow by 5 police upon his return to the UK, and his crime was posting comedically about transgender men in female-only spaces. He was taken to a hospital after his blood pressure spiked, and it's been banned from posting on X. Freedom of speech is dead in the UK. Yipes. Yipes. Scrolly. This guy, I cannot. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this one yet again, folks. I'm gonna be a little bit careful on how I phrase things. Yeah. Okay. I can do it like this. Michael Stover, a 33-year-old from Downers Grove, I don't know where that is, has been arrested by federal agents for threatening to, everybody on board with what's going on with that one? Yeah, he's trying to, yeah. He's threatening to, okay, I got that, sound guy. So anyway, threatening to KILL immigration and customs enforcement agents as well as public officials. Authorities report that Stover's been previously exhibiting concerning behavior, including possession of multiple firearms, which were seized by police in May 2025 after he is deemed a clear and present danger. He didn't stop there. No, moreover, his social media activity has shown extreme views, including a recent post calling for violence against ICE, indicating his unstable mindset. He's currently in a federal custody and will appear in court next week for a detention hearing. Okay, I think it's been more than just public statements. I think this guy really, truly has attained dumb-ass status.
Look around and find out.
Oh, he definitely F-A-F-O. Yeah, he F-A-F-O in a big way. Let's see. Scrolly. I really cruelly cannot read this guy's gist. But let's just say that numerous dumbasses have come out waving firearms around about, you come to Chicago, you're going to find out what kind of guys we really are. You N-word this and N-word that and blah, 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 blah. Dude, you did it in a public forum. They know who you are, okay? Next thing, I want to establish this most expressly. Just remember this, okay? And I got this I got this one, sound guy. The ability for you to take a Glock pistol, put a Glock switch on there, which is basically like a little block of metal with a literally, it's got a switch. You flick that switch up, and what happens then is it converts it from a Glock 17, 19, whatever model it is, to what's known as a Glock 18. And let's just say it will basically spit out an entire magazine way faster than you ever truly would ever want a hand pistol to fire. Why? Because that was 32 rounds of 9mm in 1.3 seconds. Equivalent to 12 to 13, maybe even 1,400 rounds per minute, depending on the weapon system. But it is uncontrollably fast. Like, you go, okay, I just want to tap out a couple of rounds. Good luck. That's the magazine. Oh, okay, time to reload. By the time you guys actually even get close to the target, you've missed it with like 2/3 of the magazine, all right? You are not going to zap anybody unless you really, really, really get lucky. So, genius, here's the thing. You've outed yourself. You stated you're going to take out the public officials. Good luck, because you might just hear... Yeah, it ain't going to be pretty for it, because, well, they're just going to give it back to you in any way that you ever truly wish that they wouldn't. They're going to give it to you. And potentially you might just get, well... No, you're not going to get monkey Stop! You're not going to get monkey feces. Okay? It could be safe to say that you might just get a little bit more than what you're counting on, and, No. No, sound guy. No, you're not. No, stop. You're going to get more than monkey feces.
Come on, squeal! Squeal!
Okay, it's been a while since he played that, okay? I'm going to allow it, but it's been a while since he played that one. Jeez. Anyway, so the FAFO is going to be glorious when these guys go, I got a 9mm pistol submachine gun. It's like, dude, no. You're just going to get your butt handed to you. You're going to find it out the hard way. Slowly. This one's kind of cool. I'm going to say Akira's Akira no matter who makes it, if it's real. If it's real, it's a boon to humanity. And if it's Russia, spasibo Rossioi. Thank you very much, Russia. Because you guys have basically maybe done something kind of cool. So Russia officially announces a cancer vaccine. It's ready for clinical use, and it's to be rolled out to patients free. All right, that's kind of cool. So Russia's Enteromix cancer vaccine. Early trials show 100% efficacy. Experts warn it's still the early days, but studies already suggest up to an 80% tumor reduction and higher survival rate. First target, colorectal cancer. And yes, it'll be free for patients. If it works, awesome. If it's some, hang on a sec. I got this one, sound guy. If it's some nasty ass, just don't want. I do not want any kind of no. That would be bad, and truly we don't have to worry about the nope, because that hit is gone. Stop, sound guy. He's going off the rails again. Anyway, scrolly. This one I think is absolutely just common sense. Okay, you're driving your car. Okay, and a lot of people have experienced, I know everybody's experienced this. If you have a car with a modern infotainment screen, touch panel, you're driving along and you're going for the one button, you hit a bump and you hit the wrong button and it's like, ow! And you're then trying to, go back to the menu or you're trying to go to whatever it is and you're trying to actually make the thing do what it needs to do. Yeah, but I can tell you for a fact, one of the most annoying things about my Honda Pilot. Now, I have a 2016 Honda Pilot. Mrs. Dude has a 2016 Honda Pilot. So obviously, interiors are exactly the same. It's just two different vehicles. Hers is one step above, so she's got some of the nicer stuff. But they both have the same kind of radio where you just you're touching things. It has no volume knob. It has a slider and a control switch on the driver's side of the steering wheel, which I most of the time use because trying to work that slider when you hit road bumps, you're hitting the wrong stuff. Well, common sense may have been prevailing, and possibly, of all places, I never would have expected this coming from this group of people to actually go, physical buttons might be good to have again. So, real buttons make the driving vehicle experience better. Who knew? Well, the general public stuck with no physical buttons and touch screens over bumps. Yeesh. Yeesh. So, Andreas Mint. So, the Volkswagen chief of design. Volkswagen's making a significant shift in interior design. Philosophy is now reintroducing physical buttons for essential functions in all future models. So, decision announced by VW design chief Andreas Mint. And it's or it might be Mind, because it's mind with a T on the end. Makes a departure from the company's previous touch-centric approach, starting with the upcoming ID2, or it's an EV. Volkswagen vehicles will feature dedicated physical controls for 5 critical functions, which are the volume control, the heating controls on both sides, the fan speed, the hazard lights, positioned conveniently below the infotainment screen. I think I would have really wanted to have a volume button on the radio. Even BMW's done that. I mean, BMW has pretty much always had a volume knob for the radios. If not on the radio itself, there was always like a little panel underneath on the dashboard, which was literally like a couple switches and then like an actual volume knob. Yeah, they've always done that. So reversal comes in response to widespread consumer dissatisfaction with VW's touch-sensitive and haptic controls, which replace traditional buttons in models such as the Golf. Okay, you're driving down a bumpy road. Do you really feel when the thing goes beep 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 beep? I just registered your touch. Do you even really feel that versus road bumps and stuff? So the guy candidly acknowledged the company's misstep, stating, "We will never ever make this mistake anymore. Honestly, it's a car. It's not a phone. It's a car." Hopefully, something starts from the top on down with the other guys going, maybe we need to stop doing that and make our cars stop having touch screens only. Okay, cats don't have touch screens, sound guy. No. They don't have touch screens, okay?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these on this plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some windows.
You're despicable.
I have no clue where he's going with that one. So anyway, Volkswagen's going to be the first guys to go, you know what? Maybe you need buttons again. Yeah, we need buttons, okay? Stop with this physical touch crap. That one I cannot take out. This one I found to be absolutely hilarious. If anybody has a VPN, you should do this just to screw with the Brits. So, coming in from Declaration of Memes with the check. So that's the guys. Declaration of Memes. I'm setting my VPN to show my location as Britain so I can crap post illegal memes and troll their government. Who is going to join me? That is absolutely genius hilarity. I would say right off the bat, the Brits are going to be losing their freaking minds going, oh no, who's posting these anti-transsexual things? We have to address this house haste. All right, so I'm in my cynical view seeing this as potentially that Cracker Barrel may have done this crap to try to drum up interest and try to get people to come back to the restaurants by going, "Oh, it's back to what it was. I've always loved the way it used to be." Translation, they did a little bit of something and it didn't change much, but they put up a whole bunch of notoriety to go, "See, we haven't done anything at all, and we've fixed these things that you said were an issue." Okay, maybe they didn't change much. Maybe they pocketed a bunch of that 700 million, but until they fix the food and start making it actually on site and stop serving freeze-dried biscuits that were stashed in the freezer for how long? I got no reason to eat there. The food is sucky, man. So anyway, Cracker Barrel with the check mark, so it's theirs, at Cracker Barrel. You've shared your voices in the recent weeks, not just on our logo, but also on our restaurants. We continue to listen. Today we're suspending our remodels. If your restaurant hasn't been remodeled, you don't need to worry. It won't be. Translation, what did you do about the ones that have been remodeled? Yeah. With our recent announcement that our old-timer logo will remain, along with our bigger focus on the kitchen and on your plate, we hope that today's step reinforces that we hear you. Learn more. crackerbarrel.com/all-the-more. Why don't you stop with this DEI BS and stop trying to insert rainbows on everything and trying to make something that's basically country very urban, okay? That's it in a nutshell. Stop trying to make something that it isn't, that it's not. That's it, most expressly. Because when you start sticking that trans crap in on a country store, it's just... It's really no.
You're despicable.
Yeah, pretty much. Critical stop. All right, thank you, sound guy. Scrolly. I'm really trying hard not to just go post crazy on this poor Ukrainian girl that got how do I say this without saying this? Hang on. I got this one, sound guy. This is going to be one of those... okay, that poor Ukrainian girl... And I really don't want to make this comedic, but that poor Ukrainian girl that got... Yeah, that. Okay? So this guy was busted numerous times. They knew he was an issue. And truthfully, well, he should have gotten... big time. Or he could have ridden Sparky. Would have fixed that problem right off. But now, he's now in the clink. He didn't even run away. He basically did the deed and stayed in the area, was busted 6 minutes later because he is so bat guano crazy that he didn't care. He just saw some girl, was like, "Oh, she looks defenseless. Yep, now's the time. Now's the time." Yeah. And I'm trying not to make it comedic, but I have to be really careful because YouTube goes, "Hey, you used the wrong phrase." Yeah, they use the caca very, very freely when you say certain terms and phrases. So I would charge this guy, I don't care how crazy he is, I would charge this guy with a hate crime. And I would start seeing anything racially motivated, I would start charging as a hate crime. Mostly because on the other side of the aisle, they really swing that with a very, very wide swath. And it was very, very notable how many times they did it in the previous administration for stuff that really, truly was not anything along the lines of a quote-unquote hate crime. But if you have a situation with somebody of a certain race is picking out somebody of another race expressly, that is a hate crime. This guy needs to cook. Truly. Yeah, he really, he needs to ride Sparky. He truly just needs to ride Sparky. That's about the only way I could say it is, well... Yeah, he's dead, Jeff. Yeah, it just... That's all I got about that guy. That's all I got. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not. This one is actually, it's funny in an ironic kind of way that truly it might be like one of these self-fulfilling prophecies where these guys go, well, it takes so much labor to make a cartoon. It's so heavy on manpower, doing each sketch. And okay, so what do they do? Well, you look at Pixar. Pixar doesn't draw things out really, truly. They do it all on computer. They might do like basic, framing and say, okay, we want it to look like this. They'll do some like basic, composition of like, okay, well, he starts here, he does this, they do that, they interact, this, that, and the other thing happens. And that might be the extent of their air quotes drawing. Then it goes over to computer. Then literally they're drawing it frame by frame by frame by frame. And obviously, 2.5 hour movie or whatever it is, it's a lot of drawing. It could be a couple years to actually get the thing completed. So anyway, the thing about it is they now have AI to assist. And I'm not saying AI as in like it's a good thing or bad thing. I'm saying it's AI to assist in a way that probably most people really, truly would just go, oh, no. And here's what happened now. So, anything to save a buck and potentially making really bad content because they're out of ideas, they're not using people anymore, and oh yeah, people are going to the movie theaters because they're turning out crap. So, OpenAI, for $30 million, made a movie called Critters with a Z. And it supposedly was made 3 times faster and cheaper than Hollywood animated movies. So, it's basically coming in, and this one is from Breitbart.com. Artificial intelligence becomes ever more sophisticated. Hollywood may now find itself facing some challenges as OpenAI has made an animated film, leaving many wondering if AI can end giants like Pixar, according to reports by IB Times UK. OpenAI, which is trying to show that generative AI can create movies more quickly and affordably than current methods used in Hollywood, is offering its technology to help produce a full-length animated film. Now, I've seen the trailer for this thing on YouTube. It sucks. I mean, it's like worse animation than like Shrek. I mean, it is bad. I mean, if you look this thing up, you'll see what I mean. It is just horrendously icky, nasty looking animation. It looks like they basically took animation and just kind of just said, okay, make it out of watercolors, put it underwater, make it blurry, make it kind of creepy. That's what we're looking for. That's it right there. So the animated movie Critters was created 3 times faster and cheaper than traditional filmmaking, now reportedly set to debut at Cannes Film Festival, as well as global cinematic release next year. The movie, which follows a group of forest creatures on an adventure after their village is disturbed by a stranger, was developed by OpenAI creative specialist Chad Nelson, who partnered with the production company to bring a full-length version of the film to life. Quote, OpenAI can say what tools to do all day long, but now it's much more impactful if somebody else does it, Nelson said. It's a much better case study than me building a demo. Ugh. Vertigo Films co-founder James Richardson reportedly noted they are trying to complete Critters in just 9 months instead of the typical 3 years for a film like this it would take to make. That's why Cars took so long to make, between Cars and Cars. Yeah. As Breitbart News reported, Warner Brothers Discovery is now suing the generative AI startup Midjourney for allegedly creating countless copies of its characters and dispensing the intellectual property as it were its own. The estate of late director Orson Welles, meanwhile, slammed Amazon-backed AI company Fable Studios' plan to recreate lost scenes in the 1942 film The Magnificent Andersons. Various artists are urging the fans not to listen to AI knockoff albums of themselves that strangers are creating after several singers found fake albums depicting their work on streaming platforms. Oh, man, that's messed up. Now, the thing about it is, it's really crazy, is I've seen this one website, or heard about this one website. I think I've actually seen it. But literally what it is you go on this website and you only speak for 30 seconds. And you read like certain lines showing your tonal aspects of your voice, obvious inflections, means of which you actually modify the English language to be your own. And this AI golem, shall we say, then can take your voice and speaks back to you conversationally as you would talk to somebody else. Yipes. Yipes. And that's just the voice side of it. There also could be aspects where it goes, oh, you're perfectly fine right here. I'll just take, I'll take your picture. I've now seen what you look like when you move around. I know how you motivate. I'll just simply just apply your voice and your likeness and generate a fake you. Now, I've seen numerous instances where they de-age things on a movie screen because the movie screens are actually really kind of forgiving. It's not like the most highest resolution unless you're seeing like IMAX. And even then, it's not the highest resolution. But you see like the Tron movie, the later Tron movie where they basically de-age some of the guys. And you see it in the movie theater, it looks pretty solid. But then you see it on like a high definition screen, and you're looking at it on a high definition screen, you're going, it's kind of creepy looking. Or where they had like Grand Moff Tarkin in like one of the Star Wars movies, and they literally brought him back like 20 or 30 years after he died. And they had an actor, and they put, the actor's, the dead actor's face on the live actor's face and composited it, and it really didn't look good. De-aging Carrie Fisher to look like Leia when she was Leia really didn't look good. On the movie screen, forgivable, maybe a little bit, but not with a high definition thing, man. It just, you're looking at the thing going, yeah, it looks creepy, man. Yeah, not into it. So yeah, that's where we are with AI right now. Is audio wise, yes, it can definitely match up to the human ear pretty good. Visually, nah, not quite there yet. And man, I'll tell you what, some of that stuff looks absolutely creepy when they do it. So I think what it is there needs to be legislation, literally world legislation, and everybody needs to jump on board with this one, where anything that's AI or AI generated needs to have an unremovable, irretrievably marked for perpetuity watermark on there saying this is AI content. There is no chance that you can fake this. This is AI. And once they do that and they put that kind of absolute honesty on board, I think they're going to have something where, truly it's going to be a better exercise. And everybody will go, oh, okay, so yeah, that is AI. It's not something fake that I then have to worry about. Is it real or is it not? Let's see. Scrolly. I cannot begin to do this one any justice, but oh, my stars and garters. I need the appropriate lead in here, sound guy. Hang on a second here. Let me find it. I need the appropriate one. Okay, here we go. Jokingly referred to for years in his performance as Speaker of the Senate or, Senate leader. We're talking about Dingy Harry Reid. That guy that basically got in there and did all those things the wrong blanking way. We're talking about Dingy Harry. Anyway, so Dingy Harry Reid started this BS back years and years and years ago. He started this stuff. Now, they warned him about him doing this dumbass thing, and they warned him about curbing filibuster. They even had the RNC going, dude, if you do this, you have to realize you will not be in power forever. And once you do this, the other side will be able to take advantage of this and utilize this to usurp your side. If you remove the filibuster from the Senate, it'll come back and bite you in the ass. And he was like, you know what? Thor's hammer. I don't care. I'm the leader of the Senate. I'm going to do whatever I want. You RNC guys can't tell me jack. Well, he did it. Now, so he did the first Senate nuclear option in 2013, curbing the filibuster to confirm executive branch nominees, except for the Supreme Court. So, former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell ignited the second nuclear option in 2017 to confirm Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch and lower the filibuster bar for nominations to the High Court. Dirty Harry, we told you, or sorry, Dingy Harry, they told you, don't do this, or else. Now, Thune, that's right, Thune, Senator Majority Leader John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, is likely to detonate the parliamentary equivalent of a suitcase nuke this coming week. Thune will follow the playbook established by Dingy Harry Reid and McConnell after the Senate precedent, not a rules change to expedite the confirmation of lower-level nominees in groups. Not each one going through conferences and being jerked around, pulled, all the rest of this happy horse stuff. He's going to say, you know what? Here's a group. You guys are screwing with us. We're just going to put them all in one fell swoop. Boop. Confirmed. But the plan will not include judges or cabinet secretaries. So, Mitch McConnell speaking. Thune set up this gambit in motion tonight by introducing a resolution to speed up the slate of 40 nominees the Democrats are really foot-dragging on. By rule, the Senate will take a procedural vote to break a filibuster on the resolution to confirm the batch of nominees on Thursday. That needs 60 yeas. The Senate won't get 60 yeas. But this is exactly the scenario that Thune wants. So Trump nominees pile up as GOP weighs the rule shift once floated by the Democrats. So the coin in the realm is that the Senate has unlimited debate, but the only thing it can't debate something is when an issue fails. So a failed vote to break a filibuster backs the Senate into an exact parliamentary cul-de-sac what Thune wants. At the end of the roll call, sorry, my nose bugged me. Thune will likely switch his vote from yes to no on breaking the filibuster. That's because the Senate rules allow a senator to demand a re-vote if they are prevailing side of the issue. In this case, Thune is suddenly with the noes, even though he initially voted yes to break the filibuster. So Senate Minority Whip John Thune after the Senate policy luncheon on Washington, D.C., by doing so, Thune can order a re-vote on the failed vote. And since the Senate is in a unique posture of not allowing any debate, Democrats are paralyzed. They can't do anything to stop Thune from what he plans next. Thune then will make a point of order. He will assert in the resolution like the one being drafted, a block of low-level nominees, e.g. the ones now being before the Senate, does not need 60 votes to break the filibuster. The chair, potentially Senate President pro temp Chuck Grassley, representative from Iowa, Republican Iowa, or even Vice President Vance, who is the president of the Senate, will rule that Thune is wrong. Senate rules and precedent do require 60 votes to break a filibuster as type of resolution, and Thune will then demand a vote overturning what the chair ruled. He will assert that a simple majority is necessary for the type of resolution, even though that has never been the case before. Remember, they told Reid, don't do this. If you do this, it's going to come back on you later when you're not in charge anymore. Once the Senate does that, Thune just needs to set up another procedural vote under the new provisions to break a filibuster on Monday, September 15, that would enable the Senate to confirm all the nominees in question in one fell swoop on Wednesday, September 17th. And if he wants to take it one step further, he can say, oh yeah, you don't need 60 votes anymore. You only need 51. Bam. Talk about setting themselves up for failure by looking not even for the forest, for the trees in front of them. Dingy Harry Reid set this thing in motion years back. Wow. Dude, you did not think this one through in any way, shape, or form, except to simply say, no, I want it now. You can't stop me. I'm the guy in charge. Dude, they told you not to. They told you not to. And you did. Wow. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. Small format. I am working on getting another laptop. Yikes. Anyway, so that's down the road a little ways. I got to save some cash. I got a bunch of stuff to do. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You got many other things to do on a Tuesday. Decide to hang out with me. You get a gold star for attendance. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you guys later. Good stuff like that there. And I'll see you next week unless I come up with something sooner. Gold star. You got a gold star. Sorry again for everything screwed up last week, but I'm going to blame old laptop. I think it was overheating. Is what it is. All right, folks, I'm going to break for this one. Eco Camp Tendering is always, you love it. I will see you guys next week. Good stuff like that there. I will catch you then. Good stuff like that there. I will see you guys next week. See you guys. See ya. Earth.